Good afternoon. Well, yeah, it's afternoon now. Just pretty much relaxing for a bit before I had to leave here in a couple hours to go help set up stage. And I went to sleep. I want to say fairly early because I know I woke up early. I actually woke up early today, which was nice. Had some weird dreams, but oddly enough, I don't. It's like it was one of those things. Like I know I had some weird dreams, but I don't remember what the fuck they were about. But at least I had some decent sleep. And then I know when I woke up, though, I just kind of was thinking about the food cart stuff, and I got curious and decided to look up, because I know what it would cost to, at least for here in Oregon, to convert Iconics into like a little produce store. And so I got to thinking about it. I was like, well, shit, are there any ideas out there or layouts or what have you, just to get some ideas on getting a shipping container and just basically turning that into like a little outdoor restaurant type thing. And so I go on and I look, and there's some that they can have set up on a flatbed type thing, of course, so it's more mobile. But I don't really want to get something to just tow around everywhere. And so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, going, well, shit, sit down, do some math. What do I need in the kitchen? And the only thing I still gotta hunt down and narrow down is like to see if what kind of, like, say like the 4x8 or whatever type walk-in fridge and freezers. I know I'm gonna sit down with my buddy Nate, because he was a head chef and everything else like that at one of the restaurants I worked at with him, and he did a lot of the food orders and all that stuff. And being that it's going to be such a minimal menu type thing, may not need the size of like walk-in like what they have, what we had at the restaurant there. So it's just figuring that part out, because some of the ones I've been looking at, they're going between 8 and, I want to say, even as much as like 20 grand. And it's like, no, I don't need no $20,000 walk-in fucking freezer. I'm not hanging, beef in there and cutting it right off the carcass to turn it to hamburger. That's just, no. I'm not doing that. I'm not processing anything at that degree. But sitting and doing the math on it so far, because the Conics, I've noticed, are cheaper over in the areas that I've been looking at moving. And I know for here, to get like a 20-foot one, those things are like $2,000 at most, depending on where you go. Other places you can get them as cheap as like, I guess, like $1,000. But I don't want to get something that's beat to shit and all that fun, funky stuff. But no, I'm sitting down doing some math on that. I've already sat and looked up some of the equipment and got rough prices and stuff like that for it. The only things I haven't gotten prices yet on is, like, say, the sinks, because I'd need at least one hand washing sink or hand washing station, and then either a triple sink type thing for dishwashing, or just get a dishwasher, just weigh the options out type thing. And then some sort of hand washing, spot or whatever, so that way customers or whatever could wash their hands too. At least try to think of that too, in that degree, so don't have to, yeah. get the right size, I can always get it set up where it's got, you know, a little eating spot inside. But mainly looking at doing some sort of like you know, like food cart outdoor type thing. And if everything's right and all that, you know, start out if I have to with like a pavilion tent like thing, and then eventually upgrade to building one. You know, I gotta start somewhere. And of course I still want to add in like the little produce type, farmer's market type stand, you know, and just kind of run them together, and I can easily add on at that point by doing it that way. And the other nice part is by converting one of those, I can, if I want, I can add on cold sandwiches too or something. And then in due time, if things go well enough and it's run right, I could probably even start doing a basic breakfast, you know, like biscuits and gravy and like pancakes, eggs and bacon, you know, that type of thing. Just very simple, not a bunch of stuff, because it's not like I'm opening like a full-scale restaurant. I'm basically, I'm looking at it as maybe it'd be a food cart style or food cart sized restaurant. Basically, just it's gonna be like an actual permanent restaurant, just an outdoor restaurant. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm starting to confuse myself. But I already know how much cold cases and stuff like that cost for like doing like the like keeping like, say like juice, bottled water, some soda, beer and wine, all in a cold case. I know how much those are. Excuse me, because they're basically the same thing as what you get out of a, well, they're the same thing as what you see at some of the stores, like the cold cases that you see where all the drinks are in them, you know, or like they're just bigger versions of like the little soda cases that you see at the end of or near a checkout stand. But there would be room for that type of situation. So I've already done a little math and all that, and find the right like freezer setup and cold case setup for, you know, keeping stuff in that doesn't need to be frozen or shouldn't be frozen, and just figuring out roughly how much space is needed, because I may not need like a walk-in and just need like a big reach-in type thing. But oh, my nose is itching. It sometimes when I come outside, it feels like I've got like cotton or something tickling my nose. It's just there are cottonwood trees in the area. So I'm doing the math, and if the cold case is gonna be the big one on that, because to convert a Connex, it may, and I'm not gonna state it will until I sit down, like I said, do the math, because I'll even go through and look up, like I did for the produce stand and converting the Connexes to a little produce type store. I literally went through and got a rough idea of how much, like, say, conduit, electrical wiring, what size fuse box, all that shit. Lighting, possible costs for the plumbing, you know, obviously the sinks, and like, say, if there's a dishwasher. And then even figuring out, like, in that case, in all honesty, I think it would be cool to figure out an external grease trap that some sort of screens can be put in so that no rodents come crawling up through the frickin' plumbing of it or anything like that, but have it where the grease trap from the grease, once it's basically drained from as it drains from the griddle or the grill, it can catch the crap and get caught in the grease trap and then just roll on out to an external tank, basically, to make it easier for dumping and cleaning. And obviously on something like that, I use obviously way too fucking much, and along with other words, I'm kind of catching that. But with, you know, it being at kind of a short distance from, say, the griddle and grill to the grease tank, you know, basically, it won't have enough distance for it to cool and clog up so easily. And it's one of those things that probably won't be hard to run a little bit of boiling water down to clear it out. But I've just been gonna sit and do some math and all that, and then I'll see if I can't figure out if there isn't any people out there, you know, like companies that do this type of work that might be able to help me put something like this together. Otherwise, I know there's one company that I found in Georgia. I just don't really want to have something made in Georgia and have it shipped 2, 3, 4 states away, depending on where I move to. That's just the shipping cost alone would just add on. I'd rather get something local and then have it somehow convert it right there local. Unless I can find a place somewhere in that state that does that same stuff. So it just means I gotta do a little bit more homework on it. But I'm kind of looking for, I'm looking forward to this. It started to kind of give me a little bit of energy and inspiration on this move and what to do with this biz thing. There's an option there that I want to look into and just figure out, okay, which is going to be cheaper, because either way I'm looking at, after moving and go to start this, I'm still looking at making sure that I invest in like a little property or plot or whatever, whether it's in town or just along a main stretch or whatever, that isn't, you know, huge, just big enough to do what I want to do with it. Start an outdoor restaurant there, basically. And I'm looking at that. There's been a few of the towns that I looked at, they've had plots of land within, you know, a block of city, you know, say City Hall in those towns. And other places are right along the main stretch, going from anywhere from like a few $1,000 all the way up to, you know, 20, 30 grand. Which I'm not looking at something like that. So, I mean, since dealing with all the shit I have dealt with and all, I'm hoping that this new start will be a good start. Not giving up on my dreams. I just realized that it was all being prolonged, and I just can't, you know, you can't force some people to change, and you can't get them to see your side of things all the time, where they realize that your entire intention was not about just you, but it included them as well, wanting to make sure that they could still follow their dreams without hampering your own. And some people don't understand that, I don't think. I'm an asshole, but I'm not selfish. So all the animals are just chilling and relaxing. It's been a fairly calm day today, and all that, which has been nice. Most of the time here it's fairly calm. It's just when, like, say neighbors are out doing their lawns or whatever, the dogs or the birds and all that start getting worked up a little. Yeah, I'm just trying to remain patient on this whole home selling thing, and I keep hoping, oh, maybe a week, maybe two. I mean, I know it's supposed to be done by September 7th at the latest. That's contracted. So still have to at least make one more round down there. Well, that's all it's going to be, is one more round. I can't get everything, but I am getting what's needed, and then try to get out what I can get out, like anything that can be junked out. So, sorry, I was just sitting here thinking and spacing out a little bit on some of that. Like, yeah, not really. I'm still not looking forward to that stuff. I'm still working a lot on myself when it comes to primarily the anxieties and all that. I've done let go of that person. You know, I've made it, you know, clear multiple times I don't want anything to do with them. You know, you're with someone for 12 years and they spend half of it living a double life. At least that is to your knowledge. And for all you know, it was the entire time. So, forgiveness is given. The trust is gone. And it was demolished. Yeah, I got hurt fucking bad. And I'm still dealing with those effects from that abuse. And from all that bullshit. Like, there was a lot of shit, and it's really hard to go over everything in even one video, and even then, it's hard to even do so without sounding crazy to people. So, I mean, I'll, in time, find a way, figure out how I can take from my experiences and help others, and utilize it to teach others, that type of stuff. Yet until then, I gotta keep staying focused forward. Just worry about new home, get that biz started. I can say I've had a quick reminder, not to let just anybody near me at this point that talks to me. Just because people are nice to you don't mean they always have good intentions. So, things are getting easier day by day. Definitely have my moments, and it's gonna be like that for a long time. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just, I've got to, it's obviously a journey or an adventure I have to do on my own. This idea of, finding somebody that really is going to give a shit about me for who I am and for me, not for anything else really, whether it's something I have or what they want, whatever it is. There's always going to be a want when you end up with someone. Obviously, they're going to want each other, hopefully, and not just oh, hey, we've got this, and this. Oh, now I'm interested. I'd rather somebody who wants me when I have nothing than somebody that wants me when I have everything. And I've lost hope on that after my experience. I lost a lot of hope on that. So I'm just, that's been probably outside of the effects from all the abuse. That's one of the key things that I'm having to learn how to cope with, is accepting that I'm more than likely going to end up alone the rest of my life after all this. But what can you do, So, as much as that stuff does bother me, and I try to avoid even talking about it, and at times I'll post something and delete it, and post something else and delete it, because I don't know how to communicate some of this shit anyways. And so I'm just doing as I said I've been doing, and that's, you know, home, business, and in that process, I will figure out a way to work on the other as well. You know, I'm not going to give up on my YT channel. I might actually, once I get the biz going, I've been thinking about bringing the YT channel into the business, as in, you know, letting people get to see what's going on and all that stuff, kind of like a real life Clerks type situation. It'd just be fun. You know, there's no real dialogue, there's no scripted anything, it's just you get to see what's going on, that's it. Maybe me sit there and give you guys the finger once in a while, or dirty looks and all that, just to kind of keep you on your toes, right? And it goes long enough, who knows, you might see the random drunk guy look like an idiot. It happens in every restaurant. Even if liquor's not sold, you still have somebody who comes in butt-faced and sideways trying to get a, you know, something to eat in their stomach and can't hold their composure. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've just been focusing on things I need to do and kind of giving up on other stuff. So life. Take care and thanks for watching.